Yo, what is going on, you guys? This is your boy Taladia Plays, bringing you back with another Gotham Knights IGN First reaction video. Today is the final day, guys. It is the final day that IGN will be covering Gotham Knights. So it's a preview. We're gonna react to it. It's the first 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes long. So with that being said, though, guys, we're gonna react to this, give you my final thoughts, and hopefully it'll be a banger of a video. So with that being said though, before I start the reaction, guys, could I have 2 likes on this video, guys? And hopefully I will bring on a special guest, maybe Slickmoth or maybe even Irigen, to do some collaborative videos or something like that. It'd be pretty cool for us to have that on. And also, if you're new around here, feel free to hit the subscribe button, guys, and hit that notification bell, because when a video does go live, you will be notified whenever I post a Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Killer Justice League, Wonder Woman, Multiverses, whatever it will be. You will be notified for all the games that I'm going to be covering and movies in the future. So with that being said though, let's react to this video in 3, 2, 1.
Come to watch the show, Red Hood.
Nah, I'm just here to kick your ass.
As part of our visit to Warner Bros. Games Montreal, we got to see a lot of Gotham Knights being played, but we weren't able to go hands-on with the game ourselves, and that makes a traditional preview a little difficult. Without having a controller in our hands, it's hard to say how combat, working through missions, or making gear choices feels. And with that in mind, this preview will be a little more structural. With the help of the game's developers, we'll walk you through how Gotham Knights is put together, revealing brand new information about the open world, how supervillains fold into the fabric of the wider game, the game's neat approach to a day-night cycle, and more.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
As we've spoken about previously this month, Gotham Knights' world is aiming to feel like a real city, with centuries of history behind it. Part and parcel with that is how truly open it is. The developers ensured that almost the entirety of their Gotham is open from the very beginning.
Oh, I see
each of
some...
its 5 boroughs offering different traversal opportunities, different threats, different activities, and different characters. But the team also wanted to create the sense of a city reacting to the presence of new vigilantes hitting the streets.
I would say we start off the game in a pretty cold version of Gotham. The police don't like you. The citizens don't like you. And over time, the tone evolves because you identify major threats to the city. You can find out to a certain extent what's going on beneath the surface in Gotham, and you gradually build the confidence of the citizens.
Of course, some will always be on your side, and a group of citizens called the Watch act as an informant network for the Knights, offering up missions that will help stitch their parts of the city back together, all of which will see you head out into the darkness to help bring some light back to Gotham. As it turns out, Dark Knights in training like to come out during, well, Dark Nights. Key to Gotham Knights is that it's not a game with a shifting, continuous day-night cycle. Rather, the entire game is set over consecutive nights, with new crimes emerging every evening and villain storylines progressing alongside your work to stop them. The only time you'll see daylight in the main game is inside the Knights' headquarters, the Belfry, where you'll plan for what to do after the next sunset.
Okay, the first time we get to see the Belfry.
Experience in Gotham Knights is what we call our Belfry loop. When you exit the Belfry, it's always nighttime. You don't have to worry about when the sun's going to come up. But in the course of that night, there are going to be some crimes and other activities that are happening in the streets of Gotham that are premeditated. They were predetermined by whoever was going to commit them, the day before. When you complete a night of crime fighting, and it's up to the player to decide when they're done. But like, it could be a case of them saying, well, I think I've hit most of the major crimes I needed to, or it could be the case of them saying, I learned what I needed to learn and now I need to go back to the Belfry to advance the story, for example. Then you return to Belfry and now it's daytime.
Crimes in Gotham Knights come in many forms.
Oh,
they
I
can
see.
Range from procedurally generated muggings right up to entire gangs running complex operations. And the more you foil, the more you'll learn about crimes to come.
We wanted this concept of information scarcity. So you need to find stuff out about the city night after night.
You already have a kind of activity queue that you can be tracking and deciding, okay, I think that's going to be more important for me to take on. Maybe this is more interesting to me because it maps better to one of the challenges that I'm trying to complete. Or maybe this
that is sick. we get a switch from
next chapter in the larger mystery, right? So there's a lot of different reasons why a player might choose to go after one particular crime or another.
Unlike the game's checkpointed story missions, if you fail a crime, there's no opportunity to replay that exact situation again. It's all part of the superhero learning process. Once you end a night, crimes are reset.
That night is over. The crimes that you didn't solve continued unabated, and now you're in a situation where you can look at what's coming up for the next night. So maybe you've collected enough clues that you're going to know in advance. Oh, there's going to be a heist at the bank, or there's going to be a armored car robbery.
The Belfry looks sick.
Try to break somebody out of prison. You know, in addition to that, there's a bunch of things you don't know about, right? There's all of the other crimes that haven't been revealed, and you can find out about them through patrolling.
It's a system designed to keep offering new ideas without feeling inauthentic to how a real city might work. But of course, in a comic book city, not all crimes are created equal. Sometimes in your nightly patrols, you'll stumble across information that points to a much bigger, more recognizable threat.
Did you miss me?
We were shown precisely nothing of the game's main story campaign after its tutorial. The team clearly wants to keep its take on the beloved Court of Owls storyline as clandestine as the group itself. But the game's villain storylines aren't necessarily a part of that darker conspiracy. Like any good comic book world, multiple supervillains are running riot across Gotham simultaneously.
I have a theory on this.
Agendas. In Gotham Knights, that means that supervillain arcs are optional side stories taking place over multiple nights and made part of the open world itself, not just story dungeons. As you learn more about the villains taking on specific missions along the way, your Belfry evidence board will begin to grow, connecting clues to evidence and eventually letting you trigger what the team calls a villain night.
You know, when we talk about villain nights, we sometimes refer to them as epic villain crime, and it's because we always wanted the
villain nights. I like the ring to it.
City. We didn't want it to be a case of, oh, I'm going to go into this sort of bubble dungeon universe and Gotham somewhere else, and I'm just engaging with them here. And sometimes that means we do some fundamentally, you know, big changes, right? We like encase Elliott Center and ICE. In the case of, you know, one of the later missions in the Harley Quinn arc, Gotham City Hospital is going to be, you know, invaded and is going to be thrown into chaos.
While it's very possible that these optional arcs could illuminate the main storyline somehow, the impression we got is that these standalone villains are there to enrich the sense of Gotham as a true comic book city with multiple threats to stave off at one time. And that applies to the town's gangs as well. As we've talked about before, Gotham Knights factions aren't just goons for a supervillain, although they certainly can be. Instead, they populate the city themselves, causing various flavors of mayhem depending on their affiliation. So far, we've seen the freaks and the regulators, and some footage has made mention of Red Hood's hatred for the mob. This feeling of criminal elements spreading across the city is intended to get across the endlessness of the superhero's job. You're not able to wipe out a faction from the map, you're simply stymieing their work.
You can clean Gotham of crime for a night, but you can never stop it. Even Batman wasn't capable of that, and neither are you.
Practically, that means there will always be crimes to fight and combat to be had, but factions also provide another service. Each one is tied to specific gear, crafting materials, and other unlocks, which you'll use to beef up your heroes. We've covered Gotham Knights' many superhero suits.
Those two still.
Was very much from the
I'm gonna be choosing that skin.
Gameplay-driven angle. Players will be able to craft gear that alters their hero's armor, melee, and ranged items, offering stat boosts.
That is a sick skin.
Changes. Crafting that gear comes down to two things: having the blueprint and the materials to make it.
All of the gear is created through crafting. There are flavors of gear, and it applies in slightly different ways to suits and melee weapons and ranged weapons, but what they kind of have in common is this focus on these elemental damage types. Cryogenic, freezing damage, thermal damage, damage, poison, stun, these kinds of things.
And those interactions should become doubly interesting by introducing another player into the world. From day one, the Gotham Knights team has made clear that its take on two-player co-op is completely untethered, meaning one player can theoretically explore another's world without ever having to meet them.
Anytime you're
Gotham City, that is very interesting.
Inside a story dungeon as part of the beats of the main mystery of the storyline, you're untethered. It also provides the most organic kind of superhero meetup opportunity where you think your buddy is with you and then he disappears for a while because he got distracted by something and you found a collectible. And then a second later you look up on a rooftop and a Batarang comes out of nowhere and here's Batgirl and she's here to help you stop a crime.
Of course, this could throw up issues of how progression works for players and how players at different parts of the story can interact. The solution is elegantly unfussy. Characters of different levels will scale so that they somewhat match, enemies will also scale to the player's levels, and most importantly, progression matters to the host and the guest.
When you're in Gotham, the host is their story, but 100% of your hero progression is your own. And then once you return to your own Gotham, time essentially restarts in your own story. If you completed a major story beat, a villain arc, dungeon against the Court of Owls while playing with a friend, when you get to that part in your own story, the game will ask you,
I mean, Robin looks fun.
Or do you want to just kind of say, you did this part in some other universe and we'll just fast forward you through it.
But despite watching hours of the game being played live, there was a lot we weren't allowed to see. The game's main story missions are still a mystery to us, even down to how they're unlocked or displayed on the map. More intriguingly, the team repeatedly made reference to an endgame for Gotham Knights, but steadfastly refused to talk about it.
Endgame content?
RPG structure, it wouldn't be surprising to find that it included an MMO-style raid of some kind, or, with a focus on the open world as an evolving space, if Gotham itself was materially transformed by the effects of the Court of Owls. We just don't know right now, but the biggest outlier for us is in how the game feels to play for an extended period of time. Combat certainly looks interesting, perhaps a tad heavier than the Arkham series it will be compared to, and with a much bigger focus on using special abilities you've earned along the way. Getting around the city, whether by parkour, grappling hook, bike, fast travel paradrops, or the hero's unlockable abilities, feels like a genuinely fun first affair as well. But Gotham Knights will live and die on how these things string together, and how those smaller moments make its larger structure, those nights of patrols, crime fighting, and clue gathering, feel as compulsive as the team hopes for. There's no doubt enthusiasm and belief at the studio, but this game will be made by how it feels once it's finally allowed to be in our hands. This marks the end of our month of IGN First content, but if you want to go all the way back to the start, we've got 16 minutes of the opening gameplay from the game. We've also got a big feature on how the team made a brand new version of Gotham City.
What a video, guys! What a video! It was a great video, to say the very least. Learned a lot about this game. So my overall thoughts right now is that it basically covered, like, IGN weren't allowed to play the game, which is interesting. There's a night watch, like, basically helps you stop crimes and stuff like that for the vigilante people, which is, I think that's a great thing. And also, which I also think is really interesting, is the fact that you'll be able to play with each other. Let's say if you're in a progress, that if you're ahead of your mate, as an example, and in the story, you'll still be able to play with them in their world, which I think is a really cool idea. Now, obviously, I would love to know from the developers, is this game going to be cross-play in the future? Because I would love to be able to play with, let's say, one of my friends that is on Xbox or is on PC. I would love to be able to play with one of them, at least, and immerse myself into their world. And I think that'd be pretty cool. Plus, I like the idea as well with the Belfry, the Belfries, where you can change characters within the Belfry. You don't need to you have the workbench or anything. No, it's actually by the suits. I think that's a really nifty thing. So I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this. We're less than a month away, guys, from this game's release. Less than a month, guys. Actually, it is about a month, just over a month, I'd say. For this game, and I know that I'll be covering more of this game in the future, so there'll be walkthrough videos. I'm planning to do that. I'm planning to do a series. I might even get DC Comics Gamer involved on this, so I might even get a couple of my YouTube friends, like maybe Slickmoth, maybe Irigen, if they're fully interested in doing this with me. I might get them on. It'd be pretty fun, pretty interesting to have their thoughts. I know that I'm currently working with Slickmoth right now with some of his content, so be sure to check out his stuff, which obviously you just search up Slickmoth, you'll find it there. Some of the YouTube shorts and stuff, I'm helping him there. But on my side, guys, on the stuff I'm covering, you've seen me cover the full month of coverage now of the IGN Gotham Knights. I know it's been a very, very interesting month. A lot of information was given to us, and I think it's, for me, it's won me over. The game has won me over regardless, because it it's a different dilemma, guys, and it literally says to me, this game is meant. This game is going to be brilliant. It's going to have end game content too. They've literally said that in the video, end game content. So I'm looking forward to that as well. End game content, like maybe raids, with your friend. I hope maybe in the future they'll add the 3-player, 4-player co-op in the future. Maybe, I know they said at the beginning, but they might include it later on. You never know with WB, because at the end of the day, this game is a big world. Maybe you can do 4-player. I think it'd be pretty cool if you're doing a boss raid or if you're doing something else, because I think it has that feel for it. And I'm looking forward to the 21st of October. Yes, this game is coming out on the 21st of October 2022. It's the 25th now, so I'll be live streaming this on my Twitch page, the twitch.tv/Taladia Plays. That will be in the description alongside my Twitter handle, which is at Taladia Plays. And guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the video itself. What do you guys think about this in-depth, discussion of the Gotham Knights preview? What was your favorite moment about it? Me personally, is the fact that you're able to go into different worlds. So that's what I'm really interested in. So I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you do leave a like, comment down below, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell, because when a video does go live, you will be notified. And when that video does happen, guys, you'll be sure to be like, oh wow, he's done another video. I'm pumping out as much content as I can. Soon I'll be doing collaborative videos with other people. I might do a collab video with DC Comics Gamer. We're going to be doing, we've already got the Inside the Multiverse podcast. We've got an episode coming up. We're going to be talking about the Villains trailer, and we'll be talking about Gamescom as well, because that was huge things for Gotham Knights. So make sure you do check out that in the description, with the Inside the Multiverse Discord server, guys, where it's a community where you guys can chat with me, DC Comics Gamer, and many other community members, where we talk about video games, movies, TV shows, you name it. It's all about the worlds of DC. It's a very active Discord server. You're more than welcome to be a part of that. The link to that is in the description, alongside the Inside the Multiverse YouTube page and Inside the Multiverse Twitter handle, which is Inside MV. At the invite Inside the MV. That's what it should be, the Twitter handle. So the link to that will be in the description. Like I said, hope you have enjoyed this video. Like, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends, guys, as it helps me out and helps the YouTube algorithm, be able to reach as many people as I can, to show them my channel, and to show you guys that I am very much invested in this game. So until the next video, guys, stay safe out there, and remember, keep happy gaming. Peace out.